Hey, Kristen here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joan Jett is on the stage.
Should we turn it off? Because it's like, I'm not going to say anything for a little while. It's like...
Oh my God. You're very menacing. So, first off, welcome to the stage and congratulations. It's a phenomenal performance. You totally owned it as Joan Jett. And thank you for coming out today.
Thank you.
So, is it okay if I ask you a question? Yeah. All right. So, were you a Joan Jett fan before you took on this role? Of course you are now, but tell us a little bit about coming to the role of pretty much the most iconic figure and female figure in music history.
I did know Joan Jett. I grew up in Los Angeles, so we were very, stuck in cars and houses. You literally spend your life driving around on freeways. Joan, and I love music, and I've grown up on classic rock. My parents are really into it, and so when they said, "Hey, do you want to play Joan Jett?" I said, "Hell yeah!" And then I realized after that I had this enormous job to do, and that always happens with stuff that you're driven to do. But I met Joan, and I realized that there was a lot more to her than maybe what meets the eye. She's she's obviously like a real badass, but she's really, really overly analytical and thoughtful, and she kills herself while you think that she's actually like standing there like looking like she's dying inside, but she's going like fuck you. Like, so yeah, there's a really gentle side to her, so I was stoked to get into that.
Well, I don't want to dominate the questions here. I want to let you guys ask any questions. Oh, you've employed the use of a cell phone, which is a very interesting technique for flagging you down.
We can't see anybody.
I'm trained, but I applaud your technique, sir or madam. I can't really see, but why don't you ask your question since you've used modern technology to flag us down?
Gloria, I'm John Ryan Montoya. I actually got my start in Austin as an artist, aspiring artist at Bailey Middle School on the south side, and one of my teachers, we did industrial tech, and I actually had the chance to work with an AE1 camera, and I know you got your start with fashion photography, and I was wondering, how did that affect your ability to manipulate photography in the movie scenes?
That's a good question. How it went from stills to moving pictures, or?
Like to manipulate the light and the color and
Oh yeah, that was right off the top. Sort of, it's what kind of movie you're going to watch, and it's these girls kind of coming of age, and this is the time when their life starts to change, when they start to realize they're in these bodies, and people are paying attention to them. At that time when you're just kind of growing up and you realize, oh, I'm kind of changing. And it's a confusing time, an exciting time, and hopefully it set it off the top. Yeah, well, because the blood, like, it looks so, it's like pretty. Do you know what I mean? And it's weird, it's like, get ready. You know what I mean? It's like, I really liked it too.
I don't know if I'd say pretty, but that's okay. That's
come on, no, like we're gonna go talk after this because I have a few things.
Maybe I've just got bent up issues. I don't know. But third riser over on the right hand side.
Kristen, a lot of people talk about Meryl Streep and Julie and Juliet channeling Julia Child versus being Julia Child. Would you consider your performance more being Joan Jett or channeling Joan Jett?
Yeah, I really don't know. I was worried about just doing like an impression. I didn't want to be a caricature of her. I was really lucky to have her with me every day because I would have felt like all I did was cut my hair and dye it black, and I would have no reason to know anything about this woman beyond anything that anybody, Googled her name could do or could know. And I don't know. That's still something that you worry about a little bit because you can't completely, to a certain extent, it's an impression, but I tried not to, make it so surface. I know her really well. Okay.
So Joan Jett was on the set frequently? Is that the?
Yeah, she was.
She was the executive producer.
Yeah,
yes.
but that term can mean a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily mean that person is
true.
on the set
Show up
every
on
day.
set,
So.
yeah.
No, that's true. She
But
was,
that's great. That's
yeah,
great.
Yeah, and all three pre-production too, so every day.
So were there days where Joan Jett would step in and say, no, that's not how Joan Jett would have played it. Here, let me walk you through the paces. Or, I mean, what sort of feedback did you get from her on a daily basis?
There were a few things that I would have played differently had she not been there, and I'm really thankful. I mean, when I read how Kim was with them, I thought he was such an asshole. But she really liked Kim, and so I would have played that wrong had Joan not been there, because that was in Cherie's book, that was the impression that.
Yeah, that's why, I was talking about I used Cherie's book, but also interviewing Joan. I mean, they saw Kim very, very different. As Joan was just like Kim's friend, and she thought he was funny, and she would take his mannerisms kind of with a grain of salt, where Cherie really took it to heart. So
She was a little sensitive.
So how do you choose to balance that within the film? Because I'm not sure how I take it away. I took more that he was a dick. Just from the portrayal on
funny
screen.
dick,
Yeah, it
no?
was a very funny dick. Yeah, so you don't have to answer that. I'll tell you what.
I think it's in there.
I think it's in there too. First riser waving like this.
Yeah, that's me. Kristen Stewart. I saw you on the Jimmy Fallon show, and you asked Dakota Fanning, what was it like to kiss Kristen Stewart? What was it like to kiss Dakota Fanning?
I really liked it.
Oh.
Good question.
I liked it too. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Question on Mr. Goss.
I like Control. Yeah, Control's amazing. It's Sid and Nancy. You can call that.
Sid and Nancy. Kind of, it is.
Those are my favorites too.
Cool. Well, we probably have time for just a couple more questions, if we have any in the audience. Anything at all? Right there in the center.
Can you talk about any future projects you're doing? Are you going to be doing more directing for Gloria?
Yeah, I'll do more features. I'll probably do something that's not based on real people. It was fun, but my work in the past has sort of been a little bit more sort of a coming from a different place. I mean, this was so much fun because of all the research, but there was a lot of it was like a lot of research, but a lot of people's feelings and stuff. It'd be really kind of interesting for me to do something that is just based upon fiction.
Kristen, you want to talk about any future projects?
Actually, I don't have a job right now. I'm really excited about it though, because it's been a long time since I've had sort of nothing to think about, and I think that's important to realize what you want. I can't wait to get excited about something, and I feel like and I'm getting bored, and so it's got to come. I got to get, but not yet.
All right, so we got one more question, but we need a doozy of a question. We need something to give us closure in the room tonight. So don't do a half-ass question here. This is something serious, real deal. No pressure here.
Real deal.
Right there, center.
Hi, this is, I guess, a question for Gloria. I really appreciated the sense of optimism the movie ended with, and it was never judgmental. Nobody was a victim of anybody else. And I don't know, like when Joan finally writes the anthem and gets back up and starts her own band, it's kind of inspiring because any of us can keep.
It was a cover. I Love Rock and Roll is a cover. The same.
And so does that sense of optimism come from the book, or Joan, or you infuse that, or a little of all of those things?
It was my interpretation from meeting them. I mean, I think, Joan goes on and she had many obstacles. As you can see, 23 major labels turned down that album. So for her to kind of go and persevere, I think was inspiring to me. But also Cherie's story. She was fine where she was, and she made that decision to kind of quit the band and survive. She's a survivor in my eyes.
We should all go get some chainsaw art now.
I know. I think that's good therapy.
Let's do it.
Are you tweeting this Q&A right now? All right. So, anyway, I want to thank our guests this evening for being with us here in Austin, Texas, and also for capturing a monumental period in American music history. So thank you guys very much. And the film comes out when? It's coming out in theaters. I'm going to give a gross promotional plug. Release date for the movie. It's coming out in theaters soon.
Today.